Okay. Hey, I have the incredibly infamous Jack Mitrani with me today on, I don't know if I'm calling this thing the blueprint or not, man. It just sounded kind of cool, you know. I
I
like
like it.
Jay-Z, you know. Jay-Z's music's cool and stuff, man. But yeah, man, I'm so excited. I got Jack Mitrani on here with me today. Those of you that uh there's probably very few out there that don't know who Jack is, but former pro snowboarder, X Games host, filmmaker extraordinaire, probably one of the funniest dudes that I think I've ever seen online. And dude, I'm a massive fan. I've been following you for years. I started stalking you on Instagram probably about like a year ago or something like that. And I'm glad to be connected with you today, Jack.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the beautiful intro. Yeah, I'm very grateful to be here. I like the name The Blueprint. You're the man. Thanks for reaching out. Thanks for having me.
Dude, no doubt, man, no doubt. And again, just kind of going back to my introduction to you, I think it was probably back in 2016, maybe 2017. You guys were just like pumping out like mad videos. Burton was doing a bunch of stuff. Burton Presents. I think the very first introduction that I had to you was it was one of the videos with Danny and just kind of showing his, just kind of comeback and dealing with injuries and stuff. And I remember I saw this clip where you guys are in this igloo, and I was like, dude, I don't know who that cat is, but that guy's this whole thing was just perfect, man. Like I like watched that video on repeat for. I still have it. Obviously, I sent it to you the other day, man. But
We sure did have our fun, man. Yeah, that's definitely a big passion of mine ever since I was a kid. I grew up with a little brother who was a prodigy, Luke Mitrani. He was on a Wheaties box at 13, pro snowboarder. And growing up, he was just so talented, flipping off of everything, so good on a skateboard, on a snowboard. And I was, more of like a traditional sports player, baseball and everything else. And so with everything he was doing, like I would just take my parents' camera and just be like, dude, I got to film this. And then I learned iMovie and started making these like random videos, like fake, karate videos and then skateboard videos, just like whatever, everything. And then I remember we were at Woodward when we were like, I don't know, 10 years old. And like my parents sent me this new camera and it just like changed my life. I like got this camera, like probably a cassette tape mini DV. I don't even know what it was back then. That's how I date myself. But yeah, long story short, I just, since I was a kid, fell in love with making videos. And then I think the way that my life took shape, I was just surrounded by so many amazing things to capture. And so that became like, all right, every day, let's come up with a skit. We would travel around with an easel and be like, here's the idea, like, who's in, let's do it. And like, thankfully, once we started posting these, like you'd go to X Games or all these places and people would be like, dude, I love that video. I love that video. And like, so it just created this like ripple effect. And I'm grateful, man. We had a really fun life and a really, really fun group of people that we were surrounded by. So yeah.
I love that, man. And dude, hey, I got to give your brother Luke a shout out too. I'm such a huge fan of his music. I actually got connected to Luke way before you, and him and I have like talked a couple of times. I'd love to get him on here and stuff. And I just love his creativity, man. Like he is such a cool guy.
That's all he knows, man. He is an artist at heart.
Dude, I just like, and I love his heart, man. Like he's just got he's just such a good dude, man.
He should be the president of the United States, man. Everybody would just be so happy, and
everything
would be like flowers and rainbows, world peace. Like
I'm in, man. I'm in. Like let's get him.
Vote for Luke.
Dude. So no doubt, man. But hey, I love what you're talking about with the video stuff. I'm super passionate about that. I think that it's something I started making videos probably back in 2017. I think it was the very first one that I shot, and it was mortgage related, but there was also this, I think I mentioned to you, I had like this very amateur hour-ish like sports podcast thing that I would do, and me and my brother and some buddies, my dad at one point, like we would go to like these random bars and just like set up, and there would be people eating around us and we just didn't care. We would just have our videos in front of us and just get on there and talk trash about whatever, right?
That's
and
like Barstool. Yeah,
it was fun. It was very much like right when Barstool was kind of getting going and stuff. So there's probably like some, just influence there with regard to that and stuff. But dude, I love what you said about how this was always something, the video part was always something that's been inside of you.
Mhm.
I am such a believer in each one of us has something unique that we can bring to the table that this world absolutely needs.
Yeah.
Something that, you know, I don't want to say that we can leverage, but something that is like beneficial and useful for those around us. Whether you're talking about individual people that you know on a regular basis, you see them day in, day out, or just bigger macro level things like businesses or, you know, whatever. And I think the fact that you had like this baseline, just kind of, you know, MO on how you did things in life with just capturing ideas and videos and making things fun and just sharing yourself with the world. Dude, like I think that you were positioned so well to just continue to just grow that exponentially. We're in a place like where that is just
Oh
being
yeah,
like no other time, man.
absolutely. I know. I always thought like I got so lucky the way that the world took shape and that content was such a big piece of everything. You know, like being a snowboarder, like you have those thoughts. You're like, where am I going to go after a snowboarding career? You know, it ends super early and like you don't go to college, you don't have a very traditional background. And so a lot of snowboarders go through this transition where they're like, I don't know what the heck I'm going to do. And so for me, I was just like, I really want to do something with filming and editing. And by the time the snowboarding career was coming to an end, like YouTube was taking off, Instagram was like, everything was shaping up in that way where I was like, man, I got so lucky that like
Yeah.
filming and editing is something that I can continue doing. So yeah, I mean, I'm just, yeah, I'm grateful. Grateful.
I think that it's opened up just a ton of doors too. You know, there's this guy that I follow. His name's Myron Golden. He is a business coach. He's down in the Tampa, Florida area. It's like 62, 63. He's probably like one of the most just inspirational people that I listen to on a very regular basis. And Myron's always talking. I've talked about this at length on here. And Alex Hermosi says this too. People need to be reminded more than they need to be taught, right? And so Myron is always talking about how video can hack things for you. Like it can hack time. And he often talks about this study that was done, I forget where, somewhere back east. And it takes upwards of 7 hours to develop a relationship with somebody to know what that relationship's going to look like. If there's going to be something there, if they're going to know, like, and trust you, or if they're going to let you be a part of their world or whatever. And I look at that and, dude, you know, I'm married. I've got 3 kids. My oldest just started his junior year. I've got an 8th grade daughter and then a 6th grade daughter. And so I'm an insanely busy person. They're all involved in sports. I'm running a mortgage business. Like I don't have like all this crazy extra discretionary time where I'm just like, I wonder what I want to do today. You know, it's just like
Yeah.
much of it is just kind of, you know, develop.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just set out for me. And so if I can hack time with making videos where I can show people who I am, what I'm doing, all this stuff. And again, mine might be a little bit different than yours with regard to in the mortgage business, you're developing film. But if people can see those things, it's like those videos, you know, create that the videos like take care of the 7 hours for you. You know,
Mhm.
now I'm not saying that like when you sit down and you meet with somebody, there's going to be like this instantaneous connection, but you're going to be so far ahead of the game because you've been putting video out and people are consuming what it is that you're doing, what you're talking about. You know, like I even think like you and I are a good example of this because this is the actual first conversation I've had with you. I know that like we've DM'd a little bit and stuff, but like
Yeah.
we've never like actually talked to each other before. But there is a little bit of familiarity there because, dude, I've been like consuming your content for like 10 years, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so that actually is just, I don't know if we want to get on this topic, but it's just like, you know, how many friends have you grown up with where, you know, you post things on social media and like that's all they know, you know, they're just like, oh, I saw that like you were here, here, and here, and like that's your life. And it's like, brother, like there's so much other stuff going on underneath what I'm putting on social media. But
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know. I think like our society, I think, is getting into this habit where it's like, okay, we can just stay in touch over social. But I think, you know, that's with our music festival. The whole point is like, let's bring back human connection and like actually getting together and catching up and talking about real things versus like, hey, everything's great. Like this is me looking at sheep with my kids. Like, you guys, everything must be perfect. You know, everybody creates this like image of what they, you know, perceive off of social and these videos. But underneath that, I think there's real, you know, human like story and connection and things that are being pushed to the side. I don't know where I'm taking this conversation right now, but it just, that's something I'm like, I kind of struggle with. I'm just like,
absolutely resonates with me. I think that there is, you need the human component, you need the human element to it. I take guitar lessons, and I was talking with my guitar instructor this past Friday, maybe it was 2 Fridays ago, just about concerts and about how music that is just so readily available on Spotify, and you know, you sprinkle in AI and just all the stuff that's happening with the music industry and stuff, and how there is like this, I don't know if you followed this, but like I think it's Gen Z is the biggest consumer of CDs and vinyl that we've had over like the last, you know, handful of years here and stuff. And so you're starting to see like this resurgence of
backwards.
People want, no doubt, man. And when I look at music, it is nice to have just access to whatever on Spotify. But dude, like there's just nothing like being in a setting where there's live music going on, and you're just watching it and you're experiencing it and you're there with the people that you're there with and stuff. So I do think that we've been starved. There's a good component to the social media piece, but I think that we've been so far removed and starved from just what actually gets us, you know, connected. That
feeds the soul, man.
Dude, we need it. We 100% need it.
Sure. Yeah. I think post-COVID, you know, I think COVID was kind of just this like, bam, everybody's isolated. And then it took a little bit to kind of come out of that. And now what I'm seeing is like, there's so many of these like niche communities everywhere, whether it's a sauna community or a Pokemon community. Like, I feel like there's so many more in-person meetups with people that have shared interests. And so that stuff is making me really excited right now.
Do you think, you know, I hear people often say you can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle, right? Like once you like advance and you get to like a certain point, it's hard to go backwards. What's your take on that with what you're talking about regarding, you know, events such as yours, like Friendly Gathering, and maybe talk a little bit about that too. Like what's your take in just observing running Friendly and just kind of some of that?
Well, I think the desire is certainly still there for people to go to these events. I think in the economic crisis that we're in, I think the events, even Friendly, have become more expensive. You know, everything from booking the bands to security to shuttles, like putting this event on has become so expensive that we have to raise ticket prices. And so while I don't see anybody being like, we don't want to go, it's mainly like we can't afford a $300-400 ticket for a weekend, and then there's so many other things going on over a summer. And so yeah, I think it's more about the money than it is the desire to put the toothpaste back in the bottle. Like, I think people still really want to go, and then when they go, they're like, well, that was the best $400 I ever spent, because I got to be surrounded by like all of my old friends, and I got to meet new friends, and I got to take a break from all the pressure in life, and like I wasn't on my phone all weekend. And so that's why we keep doing it. Like, we keep seeing so many people there that are like, it changes their life. Like, I swear, like I get messages and people all the time being like, that weekend literally changed my life. Like, I was going this way, I went there. It was such a reset to be surrounded by like-minded, friendly people in a world that's just, you know, absolutely chaotic. And so, yeah, I mean, I think we just got to keep doing it and find a way that we can make it more inclusive for everyone. And I think maybe we don't have to do such a big event for everyone watching. We're talking about Friendly Gathering. That's a music festival I throw every summer in Vermont. And I think if there's ways to do some smaller ones where maybe there's not even a ticket price, we're looking at something this winter, like a winter tour through Vermont down to New Jersey and New York, where we have a DJ at the bottom, and we'll have either speakers going up the hill, or everyone's like listening to the music and has like that same song going. So you're going down the trail and you're like, yeah, it's just like the whole like idea of just like creating these like connection moments. And so I'm really excited about that.
I love that, dude.
I really hope it happens.
That's awesome, man. Have you, dude, and I would love to get out at some point, man.
Got it.
Yeah, I would love, I've, you know, just seen what you guys post on socials and stuff, and it just looks like a wonderful time.
Yeah, it's fun.
Dude, have you seen what the All-American Rejects have started doing like the last couple of years?
No.
So like, you know, I'm everywhere, man. Like I'm on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, I'm trying to like just have like a footprint everywhere that I am and stuff. Right. But, you know, but also like be present where I am as well. So I think that I do an okay job at not living on social media, but posting to be present, to just have like you know, like people see what I'm doing and everything. But I see like what the All-American Rejects, like 2 years ago, started doing like these pop-up concerts at all these like college towns. Like they come in almost like unannounced, right? And they do like these concerts, all these kids come out, and it's like this like spontaneous, like wild thing. Like they're not charging for it. I don't think that they are. They're not charging for it. Like they're literally showing up, they're making all kinds of content, and I gotta think that they're monetizing it somehow to be able to do that and stuff. But it's like they're almost like, dude, like I was talking with a friend yesterday, my friend Greg, who's a real estate agent here in Denver, and I was telling him I'm reading this book called Blue Ocean Strategy. Have you ever heard of that?
I haven't.
So it's a really good book that does a comparison between red ocean and blue ocean. And so like red ocean is, okay, this is the way that this thing has always been done, and this is the way that people do this thing. And if you want to be competitive in this area, you got to find a way to like beat your competition. You've got to find a way to stick out and somehow maybe shrink margins to become more accessible and all this other stuff. Whereas the opposite of that is blue ocean strategy, focusing on an area that doesn't exist right now, something that people are not currently doing, where your competition almost becomes irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter what they're doing. I had a coffee with a real estate agent yesterday, and she was talking about some of the things that some of the other lenders do. And I'm like, in my brain, in my brain, I'm not like freaking out, like, oh, I don't do that. But like, I'm thinking the entire time, I'm playing a totally different game. Like I'm not chasing what other mortgage people are doing. I'm trying to do something that's entirely different.
Yep.
And then being really freaking good at that thing. And so, dude, your idea that you just threw out and stuff, like, I love that, where everybody's like in synchronicity with one another. And
it's so fun, man. It's so fun. We used to do it when we lived in Mammoth. This was like, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. Like we would all be wearing headphones. We had friends' headphones at the time. And so we'd have our friends' headphones on, and we would put together a playlist, like a collaborative playlist. And then we'd all get together at the bottom of the lift and go, okay, 3, 2, 1, hit play. And so like there'd be a slight delay with everybody, but like we've been doing it forever. And I'm telling you, like when you're snowboarding down a hill and you look at someone and you know that you're listening to the same music, like it does something really, really, special. And it ends up just being a very fun time.
Dude, I am
that's that blue ocean energy, man. That's what we come from, man. Like snowboarders, it's a very different path, especially like back then. It's like a completely different path, and that's what we knew. It was like almost like a rebellion to the societal norm to just be like, we're gonna go and create our own path and like be fiercely focused masters of our own destiny and architect our whole reality, and so we had the opportunity to do it. And like even when I was growing up through snowboarding, I was like, look, obviously this is fun and really cool and I want to do this. But I think it was 18 or 21, I was like, if I'm not making money, then I have to go to college and I have to do it,
Sure.
And so thankfully, like I ended up getting some contracts and I was like, okay, I hit goal number 1. And so that it all worked out that way. But then again, snowboarding ends and then you're like, okay, what's next? Now what? Like, I don't know what to do. Like I'm having this crazy 10th life crisis because you're
Yeah.
so young, and
Yeah.
there's no playbook. Like there's no one in, you know, snowboarding, or probably even a lot of sports, that are like, here's how to transition from the limelight into a more normal life. And so I think that challenges you to really look inward and say, okay, what do I love? What are my passions? What are my skills? How do I continue a life where I love what I do, you know, and then
Yeah.
how do I make that work? And so I actually got a life coach right after snowboarding,
That's smart, man.
which was an astronomical amount of money per hour. And I was like, screw it, I got to do it. I was freaking out. I was all depressed. They took my name off the Burton site. I just ran 6 miles. I was like freaking out. And so whatever, I got a life coach, and her advice, which has continued to help me through these transitions, is everybody has a G spot, which is the genius spot. And it's the intersection between your heart and your mind. And so the heart is the passion, and the mind is the skills. And then you write all your passions, all your skills, and you start crossing them out. And then all of a sudden everything becomes a little bit more clear. And you're like, oh, okay, like this is actually what I really love and think that I can actually go and accomplish. And so it helps prioritize, you know, a strategy into getting it. But like you said, a lot of people get in the hamster wheel and they're like, well, shit, now I'm just a barista for 10 years because I didn't take a minute to like sit down and try to like really figure out what I love and what I'm good at and how to make that work.
Yeah.
And it's something that, like, even right now, like I'm in between jobs and I'm going back inward, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm kind of at a spot where I can do anything, you know? Like I literally was like, maybe I love golf now. I never used to like golf. I like golf. I like playing tennis. Maybe I should start thinking about how I can carry what I've done and all my experiences and resources into something in golf.
Yeah.
So I called Kurt Morgan, who made The Art of Flight. And, you know, after his snowboarding success, should you say, he went and, you know, he's like the brains behind Titleist. He does all their production. And so I just called him and I was like, if there's ever an opportunity in the world of golf, like, let me know. I'll even be a volunteer just to get my foot in the door. And it's just kind of, it's exciting and it's inspiring to like put yourself out there and be like, I don't have to just do this for the rest of my life because that's what I come from, but because maybe there's something else out there, you know? And
I love that.
That excites me. And so, yeah, we'll see where this next chapter goes, but yeah.
Dude, I think, I think from like a fulfillment standpoint, I'm such a person that is like, there's got to be a reason, there's got to be a purpose. I can't just do something just to do it. Just to, okay, I'm going to go get this job and get this paycheck, and that's just going to be my, I can't do that.
Yeah, you can, and then you burn out and you're like, I can't. You can do it for a year and then you're just like soulless, and you're like, eventually it's just like,
yeah,
let's start over. I just wasted a year.
Dude, 2 things that you said, your life coach, just, I love that intersection between your heart and your head. And, you know, I'm a big Alex Hormozy fan, and he often talks about how people struggle with depression and anxiety because of not all because of this, but it is a catalyst for it, because of lack of perceived options. And so and I struggle with this in my life, man. It's you know, like the mortgage business got like really, really tough over the last 4 years. And I'm like, oh crud, I don't have any options. I don't know what to do now. I don't know. And that's nothing good is going to come from that. Like nothing productive, nothing, you know, there's not going to be any movement forward that's going to create a space for me to maybe discover something new or reinvent myself, that whole blue ocean strategy thing with what it is that I am currently doing. Nothing good's going to come from that. So if I can, a couple of things, you know, I was just, dude, like right before this, I had a meeting with my counselor. Like I've been in counseling like the last like 14 years. I'm just I want to be the best person I can possibly be. I don't have like a bunch of like crazy stuff going on in my life, but like, I know that if I don't work on myself, that the default is I regress and I go backwards in every area. And so like, I'm trying to be really intentional with my brain, my health, my business, just my relationships, to where things are always progressing and moving forward. And I was just talking with him today just about how, when I can recognize like the purpose and the fulfillment behind whatever it is that I'm setting out to accomplish, it becomes just more tangible. It's like the thing that I'm moving forward to, even though I don't know exactly what it is or what that looks like, it starts to take shape and it starts to take form. And when I see that, it's like this, I don't want to say it's like a dopamine hit, but it's like almost like I'm like, cool, hey, there's something there. There's something that I can move towards. And I do have options. I love that, man. And dude, just like right from the jump, like things that you're talking about, uh, I listen to so many people, and people are often talking about just turning the camera on. I mean, wherever it is that you are, like if you're out golfing or if you're out wherever and you're just sharing yourself, you have no idea like who that is going to reach or what one conversation is going to do for you,
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, like one of the things I did was I posted a story and I was like, hey, I'm getting into freelance again for the first time in a long time. Like, let me know if anybody wants to collaborate. And I just got text messages and DMs from like people that I don't even know, like, hey, I'm a photographer. I would love some help with video, or like even, hey, I would actually love your help, like trying to get me some new partnership opportunities, or, hey, here's a brand that wants to work with you. And I was like, dude, thank God for social media. You can just do one IG story. And I know not everybody is fortunate enough to have had a background to build a bigger following. Not that it's huge, but like that was pretty eye-opening and and amazing. And to your point too about just turning the camera on, like my background is like, let me just be funny all the time and just post like positive, yada, yada, yada. But before Friendly, I was like, put the camera down. I was like, all right, I'm going to get real. I'm going to get vulnerable. And I did one of those like, Friendly struggling. We haven't sold enough tickets. We need support and yada, yada. And like that thing just took off. And I'm just like, man, it's amazing to see when you really put yourself out there and you're real, that like that connects with people on a whole different level. And then you see the amount of support that's out there. And so I have been just living in some serious gratitude for all the support that I've gotten over the last couple months going through this transition.
I love that, man. I love how authenticity is still the thing that sticks out with people, just being, I was listening to this interview with Adam Mosseri, the CEO or whatever of Instagram. And he was talking about like how it's going to become more and more difficult to spot AI because it's going to get so good, right?
It already is, man.
I called Icon the other day to get my Icon pass because like I missed the early renewal and stuff, and my son and I needed to get passes for this year. And I called him, and I'm having a conversation with this dude Alex, and I'm like, no, man, you're not helping me. Are you a real person? Like it sounded like
No way.
Like I swear to you, Jack, like I'm a smart person.
That's scary.
I thought that I was actually talking to a live person, and then when I realized he couldn't help me, I was like, I need to talk to a live person. He didn't even offer it up.
Whoa!
I got transferred to a live person, so it's becoming.
He sends you to another AI.
Yeah, it was a real person. I was like, "Are you a live person?" And
gotcha.
Yeah. I need you to screenshot and sign something, and no,
yeah.
But Adam was talking about like how what is going to stand out is authenticity. And when somebody messes up when they're talking on a video, or somebody fumbles over their words, or it's not perfect, or they have like a blemish on their face or whatever, that's going to become very easy to spot because AI is going to get so good. And Adam was saying that there's going to be, it's almost like this vinyl and CD trend where there's going to be like this, in what you guys are seeing at Friendly, there's going to be like this pull back to, okay, I don't want polished and doctored up and not real. I want the real thing. I want a real experience. I want to connect with somebody that is a human being, and I think that that's great. I love your heart with just being genuine and real with that, man. Like I think that opens up so many doors, and people are starving for that,
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. It's intimidating, to like put yourself out there and to be completely honest, especially like in business where you feel like everything is almost not a scam, but like marketing can be a little scammy sometimes, where it's like, one way we could have went about it with Friendly Gathering is try to create urgency and be like, there's only 5 tickets left. Like, get them now before they sell out. And that's a lie, but everyone is doing that.
Sure.
But instead I was like, dude, let's just be honest. Let's just tell everybody what's like really going on so that they totally understand. And like, this is why the ticket prices are higher. Like, I think having some transparency behind everything in this generation is going to be you're going to be way better off than trying to just like, I don't think scam is the right word, but to just like, I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, like there's like a selfish component.
Right.
Like people can spot it a mile away.
Right.
People are getting, these kids are getting like smarter and smarter, man.
Yeah.
I think that I think that you're spot on accurate with that, where if you can just be truthful and forthright with people, maybe not everything, maybe like not everything works out the way that you want it to, but I think that the probability of people trusting you goes up exponentially, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Trust. I think trust is the biggest thing. And if you, instead of looking at your customers as customers, look at them as your friends and be like, how would I tell this situation to my friend? How would I convince one of my friends to buy a ticket versus like just some customer that you don't even know? And it's like, well, I would tell my friend like, hey, this is like my baby, this is my passion, and this is, I feel like doing something good for the world. Like, your support is so needed right now, because without it, like, we might not be able to continue this. Plus, you're going to have the best time ever. And I'm like, that's the message that we should tell everybody. It's not this like, hey, you should buy a ticket because there's only 3. And if you don't buy it right now, you're not going to be able to come. It's just, that's not how I would talk to a friend. So I think that goes across many startups and many smaller businesses. I mean, once you're off and running, then I think the conversation changes and you're just like, we make great products and I hope it elevates your life. So yep.
I love that, man. Dude, hey, one thing you said too, like about the music and everything. I'm 48. I'm a degenerate. Like I love Blink-182. I still have like all their jokes, like all that stuff, right? But like I heard this interview with Tom DeLonge, and he was talking about like how when you guys talking about how when you guys would get off the lift and you'd all hit play together and you have like this, like you're just like in sync with one another and stuff. He was in this interview, he was just talking about like how that just does something to people, like when you are, and maybe it's bigger than music, man. Maybe it is exactly like what you and I are talking about here, where there is a genuine, authentic thing that you are putting out to people. And that is what everybody is in tune to. All the people that you're blessed to be able to be around and influence and help out and stuff, like maybe that's the music, maybe that is the thing that gets everybody. Dude, like if I can brighten somebody's day and if I can help somebody, encourage somebody, I feel so much better. I often talk with people about, I heard this one time, talking to yourself versus listening to yourself. When you listen to yourself, at least with me, there's a lot of times that like negative chatter can like enter into my brain. And like, I listen to all these things that don't do anything that are going to help me or the people that I'm around. Right. Versus if somebody comes to me and they're like, dude, hey, I'm having a really hard day. My business is struggling or whatever. I'm not going to be that person that's like, yeah, you suck, man. You just mail it in now, dude.
I totally see you as someone who would do that.
Yeah, exactly. But dude, like, no, man, I'm gonna try to like, okay, well, hey, I'm so sorry that you're going through that. What are some areas where things are working out okay, and like, how can that kind of get you back on track? It's maybe that's the music, man. That like we individually kind of put out there and help people just kind of get in sync and have hope, dude, and have like purpose and pull people out of things,
Yeah, man. Little thing called empathy, man. Empathy is a very, very nice thing. But I think, like having, meaningful meetups and like intentional shared experiences, I think is the wave right now. Like even if you're just going out to dinner, like try to think about something to talk about with like intention before you get there, so that you're not just sitting around just like, dude, did you hear Chad freaking hooked up with
right?
Like, sure, that's fun, whatever. But I mean, like, I think there's so much, there's so much to before the actual event. Like, that's why with this event where we're all going to be listening to music together, that's one thing. But I think meaningful meetups and having something that actually like is going to better the experience and then leave you know, you leave with something when you're inspired and like there's actually some good that comes from it. That's something I'm trying to work on right now. Is like be a little more intentional in life.
Yeah, I love that, man. Dude, hey, you know, I don't very, very thankful again of your time today. Kind of wrap things up here and stuff. But dude, what's former pro snowboarder, what's give me a couple good memories, man. Like what's something that you're like, dude, I'm so grateful I gotta go do that.
Oh wow. Now we could talk for a couple hundred years. I mean, at high level through snowboarding, it was the experience to travel the whole world with my best friends. And
Yeah.
at an age where you had so much energy and you were so excited and everything was new. I mean, going to Japan and going to New Zealand and all over Europe and Italy, it's like everything is just so fun and you learn so much. And so I'd say that, like in a whole, it's just being able to travel with your friends.
The experience.
There's nothing like it. Like
I love that, man.
I miss it, man. Those were the days.
I love it, dude. I love it. Well, dude, please tell your brother Luke I said hello. Tell him,
Yeah, we'll get him on the show.
I'm so appreciative of everything that he's doing. Man, if you guys are ever out in Colorado, please let me know. I'd love to grab you guys a beer and just kind of kick it a little bit. But
of course we're gonna be in Colorado. Let's do
Yeah.
it, man. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And like just, you know, sending some every DM that you ever send is always positive and super kind. So keep up, you know, being a nice person, and best of luck with the blueprint and everything that you have going on. And hey man, let's talk again soon. Let's have a beer in Colorado.
I'm down, Jack. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely. We'll talk soon, buddy.
Peace.
See ya.